Hey guys, thank you for joining me. Hope you're all well. So today I've got for you a specific mobility session for hip and ankles. So hope you enjoy. Let's get started. If you have got at home any weights, so a plate or a kettlebell or anything like that, you might want to pause it and go grab them. Don't worry if you haven't, we can do it all without, but obviously the weight will help assist some of the movement. So entirely up to you whether you want to pause the video, go grab some weights, or whether you just want to carry on. So when you're ready guys, we're going to find a little bit of space. So nice and simple to start. I just want you to do a little tester basically. So we're going to bring the feet together, standing up nice and tall, open through the shoulders. So all you're going to do is a little squat down, sitting nice and low. Keep your knees and feet glued together, and then you're going to come all the way back to the top. And then again, so nice and simple, just sitting nice and low, seeing how deep you can get into that squat, see if you can get to that parallel position. And then all the way up, good. We're going to do two more, so just a little sit down, keep the knees glued together, weight into the heels, push the bum down, and all the way up. Good, so last one, nice and slowly, sitting down. Good, little pause at the bottom. Good, and then coming all the way to the top. Excellent. Okay, so from here guys, nice and simple. Just letting the dog out. So you're going to come from here, lifting the heel. So you're going to come up onto the toes. You're going to go over the top. You're going to come back to the toes and then back. You're going to try and pull your toes away from the floor and then to go again. So lifting the heel, take it over the top, back to the toes, foot flat, and then draw the toes back towards you. So we're just working the different movements through the foot, over the top, pressing down and flexing. Good, last one, lifting the heel, over the top, toes down, and then flexing the foot back. Good, so same thing on the second side. Take note here, you'll probably have one side that's a little bit better than the other. So second side, we're going to lift over the top, toes down, and then lifting the toes back towards you. And again, so we've got that 4 times, nice and steady. Just giving the foot a little stretch in each position. Good, let's do 2 more, so toes over the top, toes back down, and pulling back. Good, last one, taking the foot up, over the top, toes down, and then flexing. Good. Okay, so bringing your feet out to a neutral position. So we want the feet underneath the hips, so don't have them together and don't have them too wide. So find where your hip bones are, and then you want to think about a train track alignment. So centre of the knee, centre of the feet here. Okay, so all you're going to do now is work into a different kind of rotation. Some of you will probably find this quite difficult if you don't really move your ankles. So you're going to think about rolling out onto the outside. So I'm trying to lift the insteps, I'm trying to lift my big toes off the floor. And then from there I'm doing the opposite. So I'm keeping the insteps down, I'm lifting the little toes on the outside. So I'm lifting the insteps and then rolling in. Good, so just nice and slowly rolling out and then rolling in. Good, 2 more. Rolling out, rolling in. So a little bit of a weird movement, but just taking your time to give the ankles, again, a little stretch in each position. Good, and then just give the ankles a little rest, circle them, give them a little shake. Good. Okay, so this is where your plate or a step comes in. So if you've got something that's raised, excellent. We can still do this without, but it's better if you can get a step of some sort. Okay, so just a basic calf stretch. Okay, so you're going to bring the ball of your foot onto the plate or your step, and you're going to drop your heel down. From there, you're just going to do a gentle rock forwards into it. Dependent on how high the step, obviously my plate's quite big, so I'm not going to probably go too much further than that. If your plate or step isn't that high, you can take a little step forward with the other foot and try and bring yourself as far forward as you can. Okay, so you're just trying to press forwards from there, and you're just going to hold, keeping that heel down, and you should be feeling that stretch into the back of the lower leg. She says, keeping the balance. Good, so just holding that there, drive the heel down, push the body weight forward. Try not to just tip through your upper body though, think about pushing your pelvis forwards. Okay, slow to release. And then let's change to the second side. So the foot comes on top, drive the heel down, and then same again, just a little press forwards, keeping that heel down, pushing the hips through. Nice. And then just releasing off slowly there. Excellent. Okay, so we stretched down the back of the top of the calf. We're now going to stretch down the front of the shin. So you're going to come with your leg across. So I'm coming up on top of my foot. My leg comes across. Then from here, I'm going to bend my supporting leg. Think about pushing the knee into the back of the leg. And you're just going to sit as low as you can. So it should feel the stretch across the top of the foot, maybe a little bit into the front of the shin, dependent on if you're quite tight through that movement. And you're just going to hold that stretch there. Good. And slow to release out. Changing sides, so exactly the same thing on the second side. So crossing the leg over, toes over the top. You're going to push into the back of the leg and just sitting as low as you feel you can, so finding that stretch. Nice. And slow to release there. Excellent. Okay, so from here we're going to come down to the floor, so take your time from here. So two different options here. This is where your kettlebell's handy, or a plate or a weight of any sort. You don't have to do it with a weight, you can do it completely without, it's absolutely fine. So I'll do this side on so you can see. So I'll start without the weight and then I'll add the weight so you can see where the add-on is. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring one foot out in front. Ideally, I want to bring my foot back so my big toe is in line with my knee. However, if you can't get your heel down on the floor in this position, you're going to have your foot a little bit further forwards than that, okay? But that's the aim, you want to get the foot back. Try and drive that heel to the floor, and all you're going to do there is just a gentle press forward. So you're going to bring your body weight over, and you're going to keep your heel flat to the floor. So we're now stretching into the lower section towards your Achilles, into that tighter area. Some of you will find that's a lot tighter, some of you won't find that as bad, it just depends. Obviously, if you've got your weight, what we can do to add on to this is the same position, but the weight comes on top of the knee, okay? So you're pressing forwards and you've got that added weight just pressing down and should increase that stretch a little. So this is entirely up to you. You don't have to do it with the weight, you can do it purely body weight. And you're just going to hold it there. Give it a little move around as well, so coming in and out with the knee, but just keeping that pressure lightly forwards. If the pressure feels a little too much, obviously either lose the weight or just come back off of it a little bit. Steady to release there, so releasing the weight, and we're going to change over. So exactly the same thing on the second side. So from here, same again, heel flat to the floor, make sure the heel is flat down before you press forward. So you can either just come body weight, or the same again, you can add the kettlebell or the weight, whatever weight you've got, just to press forwards And it's exactly the same, so you can move the knee in and out, just finding any tightness, but my heel is staying flat on the floor. Really important that that heel stays down. Good. And again, just steady to release out, releasing your weight down if you've got a weight. And then from there, we're going to come to seated. So we're now going to have a little look at the hip mobility. We're going to work a little bit of strength at end and range movements as well. So some of you will find this really hard. Some of you won't find this too bad. It just depends on the tightness through your hips. So we're going to start with feet in your frog position. And you're going to bring your right foot behind you. Okay. Now from this position, first thing you're going to do is plant your feet. Don't have your feet tucked in too tight. If your feet are tucked in too tight, this exercise is going to be next to impossible. So feet are going to be out away from you a little bit. You're going to take your hands behind your back, and all you're going to do is imagine your feet are super glued to the floor. You're going to lift your knees up towards the ceiling, and you're going to rock over to the other side. Okay, so it's nice and simple. Hands are behind the back. You're going to lift the knees up, and you're going to rock over. Now obviously, if that's really simple for you, if you've got good flexibility, you're then going to do the same thing with your hands across your chest. But I don't want your feet to move. It's really important that your feet don't move off the floor. So they should be in the same spot throughout this exercise. Just be careful, you do tend to do a little bit of a bum shuffle through this movement and moving forwards. So if you need to, shuffle back and then start again. One more to each direction. Keep them feet completely still. Good. Good. Okay, so there we're working through the external rotation. We're now going to give it a go at working through the internal. So this is where most people really suffer through their hips. Surprisingly, it's actually not the external, it's usually the internal. So what we're going to do now is you're going to hold your front leg. What I want you to avoid doing is rocking forwards. Now, for some of you, will have to initially, to get the movement, you're going to have to tip forward slightly, and that's fine. Do what you need to begin. But the aim is here to lift your back foot off the floor without leaning the body over. Okay, so sitting nice and tall, you try and lift your back foot and then lower. So you're going to try and do 5 on this side. Take your time. You're going to switch it over, obviously if you can without the hands, and then you're going to do exactly the same thing on the second side. So you might have one leg that's better than the other. Good. Once you've done 5, coming back to the middle. And to take a little rest there. Excellent. Okay, so we're now just going to take this into a little stretch sequence before we come back to stand and go into some more mobility work through the hips. So you're going to come again back to your frog position. We're going to extend your right leg out forwards. You're going to take a breath in. As you exhale, you're going to reach both hands towards your foot, and you're just going to stretch as far forwards as you can. Really try and pull these toes back towards you, relax over the front leg. Okay, slowly coming up, and from there, this front leg is going to come all the way round to the back. So you're going to take a half circle round. You're going to stretch the leg behind you to come into this pigeon pose here. So from the side, you should be extended through your back leg, your chest nice and high. And you're just going to allow your hips to sink. So you should feel a little bit of a stretch through your hip flexor as well as into your glute. and just hold in that stretch. If you want a little play around with the thoracic as well, you can lift the chest, just open out. Just holding it there. Nice and slow to release out, and we're going to do that on the second side. So again, frog position, we're going to extend left foot forwards, chest nice and high. From here, as you exhale, you're going to reach towards your front foot. So leaning forwards, flex the toes, hold in that stretch. Good, slowly coming back to the top, and again this leg's going to do that half circle again, all the way around to the back and into that pigeon pose. So lift the chest, sink the hips down. So remember here we're trying to get the hips nice and low and stretching that back leg away. Again, if you want to have a little play around with it, lift the thoracic, looking up towards the ceiling. And just nice and steady to release out. Excellent. Okay, so coming back to all fours from here. So now from here, guys, we're going to come into a different variation of your frog stretch. So now we're going to open it out through the hips. A little bit of a groin stretch, inside thigh stretch. Don't force this, just go to your own ability with it. So the idea is to try and get your hips as low as possible. Obviously, take it as low as you can. So from here, you're going to take your toes and knees out. We want to turn the toes out as far as you can. Then from here, you want to sink yourself down and try and push your bum back. So what I don't want to be doing here is I don't want to be bringing my weight into my elbows. I want to be pushing my bum back as far as I can. Turning them toes out and allowing the hips to open and sink down. Okay, so just holding it here. Try and breathe. I know it's not the most comfortable stretches, but just holding it here. Good. So keep driving them hips back, seeing if you can open the knees a little bit more. Okay, and then from there you're just very slowly going to come out. Don't come out of that too quickly, and bringing the knees back in. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to bring it back to stand. We're now going to come into your squat position. We're going to work the bottom of your squat a little bit. So again, we're just going to hold. So do your best to hold for as long as you can. Eventually what we want to be doing is building this up to about a 10-minute hold without moving. Quite tough to do, so build it up slowly. So if we can, we want to get the toes pointing forwards, really important. So a lot of us squat because we've got really bad ankle flexibility with our toes turned out here, okay? We want to try and keep the toes pointing forwards. You're going to sink yourself down, elbows to the insides of your knees, and you're just going to relax at the bottom, okay? So it doesn't need to be an active position. It's a slightly different stretch, really. So I want you to sit to the bottom, drive the knees out, so use your elbows, try and lift your chest nice and high. And so you're just resting at the bottom. So allowing the hips to open. Now, if you feel you can, you're going to keep your elbows to your knees and you're going to try and take your hands to the outsides of your feet, just to try and drag them toes back in a little bit. Okay, because everyone's feet naturally rotate out slightly if they've got tightness through their ankles. which I have. That's it. So you're just going to hold there, keep the chest lifted and holding it. Good. So just allowing the hips to release, opening the inside thighs and just allowing the bum to sink. Keep the chest lifted, try not to collapse through the back. Good, so you want to be spending a bit of time in this position. Don't worry if you need to take a little move around, that's fine. Just readjust and then coming back. Try and keep your bum low throughout though if you can. Try not to keep standing up through it. Okay, so from here you're just going to bring your elbows back and see if you can drive them knees out a little wider. Just have a move around from side to side, but staying at the bottom again. We're just holding. We're just releasing. Okay, so quite tricky through here. You want both heels on the floor. Options, stay in this. If this next stretch is a little bit too hard, stay where you are. If you can, you're going to reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Big twist, try and drive the knees wide. Coming back to the center. And then to change, big rotation, reach the arm to the ceiling. Coming all the way back. Keep the chest lifted, keep opening through them knees. And from here, if you can, you're going to hook your fingers underneath your toes. You're going to try and stretch your knees, lift your hips, and just relaxing over the legs. Good, slowly rolling yourself up. And then just give the legs a little shake at the top here. Excellent, really good guys. So last little thing we're going to do this evening, we're going to take the feet out a little bit wider. So we're now going to start to come into a lateral squat. I'm going to do a few progressions on this, something to build towards, something to work on. So don't worry if you can't do all of them today, that's absolutely fine. Going to start with a hip hinge, so you're going to push your bum out behind you. You're going to be bending one knee, the other leg is staying straight. You're going to sit as low as you feel you can and all the way back to the top. Just notice that my feet stay facing forwards, both feet. Foot's flat on the floor on my straight leg. Okay, so you're just going to move side to side nice and slowly, keeping your chest high and just allowing yourself to sit. Okay, so this is where I'm going to add a little progression on. So if you feel like you can't get very low in that, you're going to keep working on that until you can get a little bit lower. If you're feeling good with that, we're going to try and start rotating through one leg. So as you sit down, this foot, the toes come towards the ceiling. I come all the way to the top and then I change. So the toes turn up. I sit all the way down. Obviously, I go as low as I feel I can. Ideally, you want to be going all the way down. So you sit and all the way back up. That's it. Good. So then changing over. Like I said, don't worry. Don't have to do this level. You can go back to the previous one. Absolutely fine. So, last little progression. This is quite challenging. I can never do this first time, so this is probably going to go wrong. You're going to sit your bum all the way to the floor and get back up again. That's the hard bit. So you're going to try, same thing. You sit all the way to the floor. Oh, I did it. And then all the way back up. So you sit all the way to the floor and all the way back up. Okay, so that's your final little add-on. Give it a go, see what happens. Don't worry if you can't get back up today. Again, something to build on. The more you can open the hips out, the stronger you get in the positions, the easier this becomes. So we're just going to do 4 more. So at whichever level you want to do, so you can do the all the way to the floor one, or you can just do the lateral lunge from either of the other 2 levels. Good, pushing all the way up. Good, last 2. Sitting down. And all the way up. Good, last one. Good. And and releasing there. Just walking the feet back in and give the legs a little shake. Good. Okay, so just to finish here, feet coming together, we're going to go back to that original little tester. So you're going to push your bum back, you're going to sit and see if you can get any deeper, all the way to the top. And again, just sitting nice and low into that stretch. And all the way up, good. Into like the fingers, big reach up, guys, as tall as you can, just extend and lengthen. And releasing there, excellent. Thanks for joining me again, guys. Don't forget, please subscribe to my channel and please share. Any feedback, I'd love to hear from you as well. So yeah, thanks for joining, guys. See you soon. Bye.